time it was, but it was probably late morning, and talked to the governor about it and told him that we didn't have the support to pass the bill out of the committee.
What was his response?
Well, he was disappointed, but understanding. He understands the process very well, and again, he was disappointed, but he understood.
Did he urge you to move forward with it, try to move it anyway?
No, he didn't. He knows his basic math pretty well, and he didn't ask me to move forward.
There was a fiscal note that caused some consternation. What was the deal on that?
Yes, there was there was going to be a fiscal note if we amended it. We had talked about amending it to make it where he could negotiate it and come back later. And for some technical reason, there was a fiscal note attached to it, and I couldn't really explain it to you very well. But there was a fiscal note added to it, which would have complicated the passage of the bill. So,
how important was that fiscal note in terms of the opinion in caucus?
I don't think it would have made a difference. I don't think it would have passed even with the amended version. So we went back to the original version. We never really went to the amended version. I'm not sure what they did in the Senate.
How do you feel about this?
Well, I'm disappointed, but I think we had a good, fair, open debate. I think it was respectful, mostly on both sides, and everyone got to hear from the witnesses and the interested parties. I think this is how our system works, and I'll be glad to come back next week. We're going to have a great week next week. Very excited about National Signing Day, and I think Tennessee did very well.
You said that you thought if this got to the floor that it could pass. So is it fair that it would die in committees before it even makes it to the floor?
Well, our process is to go through a committee system. If we didn't have a committee system, this place would not function, and we've got to keep the committee system. If we'd gone to a committee of the whole, I think we could have passed the bill. I think we'd have also had a very big problem governing the state in the years ahead. And I don't care how important the bill is, we can't go past the committee system and just take bills directly to the floor. We have too many people to do that. It's inefficient. It's a bad way to do business, and I can't do that.
Did the administration raise that as a possibility, or?
Not that I recall, no.
What do you think this does for the governor? I mean, this was going to be his signature second-term accomplishment, and suddenly you guys stop it. What does this do to him going forward?
I think it's a setback, but I think there are plenty of opportunities out there to do other things. And the average person out there has a lot of other things to do besides watch what we do in Nashville and the state capitol. Most people are worried about taking their kids to ball practice and working their jobs, and I think they don't pay as much attention to us as we might think they do. And so I think they've got other things to do besides worry about the ups and downs of what goes on in the state capitol.
Well, I mean, you think that this won't be something, this is making national news. You don't think they won't notice this?
Well, they might notice it. I think it's a one-day story.
Well, there are a lot of states with Republican leadership that are considering some sort of Medicaid expansion. What do you think this says to the rest of the country? What about this? What happened in Tennessee?
Well, I think you need to have an open and fair debate about it, and do what the people in your district tell you to do. And no matter what part of the country you're in the state of Tennessee, we decided not to do it, and that's just the way it worked here, and that's the way it's supposed to work.
Do you think the governor could have done a better job of sort of prepping the legislature to present this rather than kind of the rush, there at the end? I mean, Leader Norris particularly was critical of how he said that the administration didn't keep the legislature in the loop, and that's why he didn't carry the bill in the Senate.
Well, certainly we can second guess anyone on just about any job. So he could have done better. I could have done better. I gave him the advice to do a special session. Probably bad advice in retrospect. So all of us could have done better. But in the end, the issues were discussed fairly and debated, and it didn't have the votes. So it's probably the right decision.
Why did you think a special session was a good idea?
Well, I thought I didn't want to go through the entire session with this dominating everything. I thought we had a lot of other things that are important, the budget in particular, and I just didn't want this to dominate every day of the entire session. That's why I thought we should go ahead and get it done in a special session.
You gave an indication earlier in the week that you weren't interested in in pursuing this conversation any further if it didn't make it out of this special session. Is it dead for the year, or is there any way that it might come up in some other capacity?
Well, anyone can introduce anything at any time, so someone else could introduce it. I don't plan on introducing it again. I've had my fill this week.